And we are live. Happy holidays, everyone. Welcome to the latest edition of the IWAR Network Tubecast. I'm your host, Alex G, and with me this evening we have Matt Riley, Scott Franklin, our good pal, Aaron, and not Luke Martin, because he no-showed. He pulled a Bruiser Brody.
Well, he's in the COVID protocol right now, so he's locked up.
He is. So locked up.
We didn't
Get well soon.
all read M&M's last time, so he's being a bit of a diva tonight.
He's definitely assassinating a head of state somewhere. So watch the news. Watch the news, and if Omar Gaddafi gets killed, you know it was Luke.
Actually, he took out John Madden. So.
Oh, too soon.
Too soon.
Jesus Christ.
The show's going nowhere but up.
You're telling me.
John Madden's joined Pat Summerall in Heaven's commentating booth.
Yes.
Oh no, there's a man down.
You know, my favorite edition of John Madden football was, I think it was 92 for Sega Genesis, where if like you have an injured player, the ambulance would come in and just run over everybody. It was the coolest thing ever.
Yeah.
I loved the oh no.
Is it too soon to talk about how Madden was overrated and NFL Sports Talk Football 2 was the greatest football game of all time? There's Joe Montana on the cover on that one.
Joe Montana?
The guy from Criminal Minds? Yes.
Montana.
Who the hell's Joe Montana? The actor?
Joe Montana, you crazy asshole.
We're not past the 10-minute mark.
You didn't see Waterboy? Oh, you're ridiculous.
Oh, no. Oh.
It's a Waterboy reference. So, guys, this episode will be our, what was it, December 2021 TT review. TT standing for Trash Talk, if you guys don't know that. We're going to start off this episode with the Battle Royal League, number 577. So, Matt, what's going down in the Battle Royal League?
Oh, I'm like posting this on the thing, too. Hold on one second.
You're not prepared.
I'm spreading the word. Get our listenership up.
Spreading your legs.
People. Five. Hello, whoever the fifth person is. All right. BRL, what's going on? We have the Battlecade pay-per-view coming up, and I had a question earlier from Greg, who runs the Holy Family, and he said, hey, man, which happened first, Battlecade or Magic Clash? And I was like, oh, shit, that's right, because his guy's in the main event of both shows, and he won one and he lost the other. So I was thinking, well, would it be better to lose the first match than win the second, right? Because that would make more sense. Or would you want to protect him and say, well, he won the first one, but then he lost the second. But he dethroned Joe Boring. That's the big news of the cycle, really.
Oh.
It's the big news.
Oh, the Colonel's here.
The Colonel is here. Colonel Doom.
Colonel Doom, what up?
I was kind of hoping it was Colonel Sanders.
A quick email. I got an email from somebody, and I didn't read the email right. And it just said that me and the boys are going to a new league. And I was like, okay. I don't know. I know it was an NWL player, but I don't know who. So, all right, whoever those boys are, good for you. I will say, quick side note, NWL-wise, the NPL, the folks who have been NWL have been floating over there to raise some havoc. Well done. Good cycle for those guys today. The Iron played. So what's going on in BRL? Well, I dig that. Let's see. Running through, I'm going to time myself here and make sure I get this done right, because I want to try to get our reviews done faster. Stopwatch. Bang. All right. No one. Okay.
I don't know what you're doing.
You want a drum roll?
Yeah, that's all right. That's what I'm going to say go, but that's okay. So it starts off with Adam Cash with a memorable send-off to Leather Brigade, who left the BRL after many, many years, 30 years almost. So if you've not read that promo, essentially it comes down to them not just burning a bridge, but blowing up the bridge that the Leather Brigade was having dedicated to them. And in bigger news, Fatty the Butcher was attacked and injured badly by the Disembowelers and Logan Kane. Those three have all been suspended by Johnny B until further notice. Let's see here. Hawaiian Heartthrob comes out and says he hopes that Mechanical will let this final match between them end their long feud for 2 years now. Jax McAllister calls out Hey Clown. I can give you a quick preview. Hey Clown bolted out of the league. So lesson to everyone, if you leave the league, let me know first. Otherwise, the write-up will look very one-sided. The Colada Carol is a special tribute to Christmas. Read it if you want to have a fun time. Let's see. Paige Turner comes out and he breaks up and / closes down the book club. Sheldon Schrute has been trapped overseas, the visa issues, and he says, you know what, screw this. I do better on my own. I tried to be a team player this year. I went from wrestler of the year to 40 points, so screw that. Gene Co. has arrived with Zydrate, Nivek Largo, and Shiloh Wallace arriving in the BRL. They had a promo that was also run in the UWL, and they talk about some of the things going on. They have some beef with Seth Adams Lee, so stay tuned for that. Flash Jack Ferdinand makes some comments directed to the IWL. He sent a promo over to them. I'm sure you guys will cover that. He wins the best of 7 series against Fiction. The Mannequins talk about their beef with the Olympians, and that's getting uglier. As you know, Flashy Jack just got his mask off his face, so he's back to being a handsome devil. Phantom Striker has returned to the BRL, so he's back up in action. But what will he do? He's unpredictable, and he probably will attack somebody sooner than later.
With a baseball bat. With a barbed wire baseball bat. That's his MO.
Hashtag baseball bat attack. Yeah. We had not 1 but 2 Christmas pictures with El Gato and El Barbero, so thanks for that, Jason. We are big fans. We love the artwork. White Claw Outlaws talked about the disembowelers taking off and running away before they could beat them to regain their BBL UVU tag belts, and that they were looking forward to beating them at Battlecade. But as you know, they were suspended, so they talk about taking down the Samoan Death Grip and the Destruction Crew out of the IWL. So Jim the Anchor Needhart talks about being back in action after a long layoff. And, of course, we had Wrestling Demons, Drugs, and Alcohol talking about some of their accomplishments. Don't forget that Wrestling Demon Alcohol won the Idaway Championship, so a former Idaway champion there. And, of course, Who the Heck is Mike Cook talks about his controversial opinion about wrestling. We jump down and we get to the Suburban Hill Savages talking about their many showdowns at Battlecade. They do have all the global belts, so they got that to go through. As I mentioned before, we had some departures. So we lost the Love Connection, which included our Cruiserweight champ. We lost the Leather Brigade. We lost Joey Saltamboca, who was the North American champion. We lost Barbed Wire, who got suspended for burning one of the wrestlers alive. You know, things like that. Tough. So we've made some changes to the Battlecade lineup. You will see that at the show. I'm not going to give all the results because there's a lot of fun surprises planned for Battlecade. Let's see. We have Punk Rock Mike talks about his matchup against Sabretooth being his big challenge. He's had that belt for over, I think, almost 2 years now, so he's getting close.
2 years too long.
Not a fan. Putting the pressure on. Sabretooth talks about, speaking of championships, Sabretooth talks up and the Holy Family talk about the big title match between Sabretooth and Joe Boring coming up for the IWAR Championship. The Olympians, of course, call out the Mannequins to kind of fire back and forth. And Summer Nights talk about they're going to run Ripley Strode out of the league. And newsflash, they did. So there's that going on. That gave us, I did that in just, shorten this down. That's 5 minutes. So I got 5 more minutes to go. So, a couple things to talk about. We did have a situation where we defined Too Hot Frankie Scott for burning stuff in the back of the arena. And I have it on good authority that Jax McAllister is going to go looking for Frankie Scott very soon. So that's coming up. Let me see here. Other business to take care of in the BRL. We have some new faces coming in, like Jinko. We have R.A. Rude coming back into action, and Phantom Striker coming back. So, welcome back to those that came back. For those of you that are newer to the BRL or checking out for the first time, there's a lot of promos. We're working on revamping the wrestler page, lists all the wrestlers. and bringing it down by face, heel, and kind of other to make it a little easier for you to realize who's doing what. I asked the player earlier, as far as rosters go, some people who are good trash talkers don't have necessarily a singles wrestler to work with for us. So when we're doing the best of the best tournament and we're looking to lay out like the matchups, it helps us to have someone who has a singles wrestler. Having a tag wrestler or a six-man is kind of hard because I feel it's unfair to that person who has a strat with obviously weaker strat numbers in the back end, for example, to take that risk. So if you have a singles wrestler, let me know who they are so I can, adequately put you in the tournament. Otherwise, BRL, there's a lot going on. Battlecade is going to have a lot going on. So stay tuned for that. So I will cut this short and go right over back to Alex with his IWL coverage.
First of all, I want to take a look at El Barbero's drawings here. They're dope, as always.
Yes.
I kind of want an El Barbero action figure, or at least a plushie of some sort.
That'd be cool.
That would be cool. Yeah, lots of cool things going on in BRL because I dig that. That's for sure.
That is true.
Way to ruin a catchphrase, Matt. Thanks.
Wait till you get the shirt.
Oh boy, I don't get tattooed as a trans stamp on my back. So
when you go to the proctologist,
yeah, he's gonna be digging for gold. He might hit oil. I don't know. We'll find out. I got another year before I have to start doing that regularly. So there we go. All right, next up is the Independent Wrestling League number 149, and we're gonna dig in right away here. I do enjoy the cover of Ring Wrestling, the magazine with the Dog Pound. Do you know how hard it was to find a Tyler Mane picture with him wearing LOD type spikes? It took me like 2 weeks.
That's all?
Time well spent.
Time well spent. Again, it goes to show you the amount of time I'm looking for stuff on here. Although I do not ever edit anything I say. So if I'm missing words or I don't do any proofreading. So that's that. Everyone, take a look at. There's a picture here. If you go to right above the blaze, you'll see a picture of Michael Jackson, his head on Razor Ramon's body, because I thought that was hilarious. We're gonna call him Razor Shamon, perhaps, is the appropriate word.
Oh, boy.
Scrolling down, you'll see a picture here on Weekly World's News. We see the Chameleon's true face revealed. It is Carrot Top, and Carrot Top is looking jacked. In addition to that, Luther did save Billy D. Williams from Tiamat this cycle, so that was good as always. Now digging into the actual TT, since Luke's not here, I didn't read it. Just kidding. I don't read bad stuff. No, I mean we're gonna talk about Killer Cross and Crush. They're coming into the IWL, so welcome. Again, they're doing big things. You got Atticus Black, who's making his debut as well. Again, they're gonna start going after guys and see where they're going from there. Backstabber is still apparently breathing. He is still vengeful, even when he's held back. So I wish we got another poem this cycle. Unfortunately, we did not. We got Enric Filamonte and honestly Brutal Abe. Again, they're talking about the Warped Offensive History, or the WOH. I believe they get a shot at the Battery Championship at the next pay-per-view, so be on the lookout for that. I like this line. We need a new rule here. From now on, I'm reading this league report first. I'm tired of the pages always being stuck together anytime pictures of Samantha Solely appear. It's true.
No.
Yeah, I do that for the homies in prison, by the way. You gotta sneak them in a little something. Catfish Rob is here. DOD wants the belts in 2022, although I believe this is a BRL promo that made its way into the IWL, which happens from time to time. I'm very happy to see that Johnny Vegas has TT'd, so I didn't have to do it, so that's great. He came out swinging. Johnny Vegas, one of the best TTers when he gets an opportunity to TT. He doesn't get an opportunity very often to do so. Again, spend some time and read through this, especially if you're a rookie and the NWL. Like, this is really, really good stuff. He has a cool picture of Johnny Vegas at the end. So again, take some time out, read it. They tend to be a little older. Like, he's like 3 cycles behind us sometimes, which happens. But again, I'm glad that he's TTing. Member Revolution Extreme, of course. Speaking of members of Revolution Extreme, we have Alexander J. Styles, who does now have an opportunity to hold both championship belts at the next pay-per-view at Starrcade. He's in the main events against the Firebird John Satterfield. In addition to that, he is also defending his Pan Am Championship against the Chameleon. So, again, great TT here from Mr. Styles. Again, fantastic stuff. He is someone... He has my vote for Manager of the Year in the IWL, just to put that out there. It's hard-pressed. If Bulk Brogan actually TT'd, he would probably actually earn that Wrestler of the Year. But to me, it's Styles for sure. I don't care what the rankings say. It's Styles is number 1. We have the Three Birds here. Is looking at taking down the Omega Squadron and take a pencil and they're going the Unified Tag Team Champion again, unbeatable. The Three Birds. They've beaten everybody from the Regulators to Revolution Extreme, Omega Squadron, the Graces, Empire Chaos. They've beaten everyone. So they're the best tag team in the IWAR. Period. Speaking of teams with the Stable Championships with the Mid-Atlantic Wrecking Crew, again, they will have to defend those championships against WOH next cycle. So we're super excited about that. We have the Mark, and I very much enjoy this. This is very hilarious stuff. He has top stars and top tag teams and top 6 man. So again, he has an ad for a bidet here at the bottom, which again is a nice callback to the Tubecast. So that's fun. Free Quebec. They're looking at big money in the dog pound and Devon Snaps, and we'll talk about what happened to Logan Kane and Still Cut Oats in a minute. A funny thing that I'll give you guys a little behind the scenes here. I like to make fun of stuff, but in my own kind of way. So I know a lot of people will put their achievements and their TT, like, hey, I won this title, I won that title, and I was league champion this many times. So the next pay-per-view and the introduction to Luther Alexander's introduction during the Neomatic Dragon match, I will run down every single accomplishment, and it's actually when I started writing it down, it's almost like a page and a half. And he's gonna say it like, he is the former 17-time Chicago champion, 15-time television champion, blah 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 blah. Just to see where we all stand with that. And some of them I'm just gonna make up because he is the international intergalactic intergender hopscotch champion. So that's something good to know. 3XM here with Hoax and Drool. Let's see some female wrestlers here in the IWL. The industry with Rock Camino, Waz, and David the Decision. They're what?
Boo.
Oh.
Boo.
Boo. So they're coming. Those guys have just come in, looking to get in some good feuds here again. I can't wait for them to really get going. And you see Riley Reynolds, which gives me an opportunity to use a lot of inappropriate Trish Stratus pictures from here on out. So thank you for that. I appreciate that. We have the Demolition Crew with Mean Mike Zenith and Shane the Train Gloom. They're coming up against the Distant Battlers, but apparently they got stabbed. Is that true? They got stabbed?
All kinds of things happened. Yeah.
I think we got disemboweled.
They did.
They were suspended.
They probably didn't deserve it. You have Ravishing Rex Chambers. He's looking at Ali Atari, so that's going to be a big feud. Heading up, we have Big Money in the Dog Pound. Big Money's looking at Barry Stevens for a feud, and the Dog Pound looks like they're going around the Amazing Graces. So, fantastic stuff there. We have Dixon Ticonderoga here From New Jersey, huh? Where in New Jersey is Dixon from, Scott? Is he Hoboken? I feel like he's from Hoboken.
Sheboygan.
I thought that was in Michigan.
Go
I'm gonna go Hoboken because he looks like a hobo sometimes. So he's defending his Grand Prix championship at Starrcade. So hopefully he wins his defense. But he is a hell of a challenger in the American Patriot. So well, and thank you for using Misty Hyatt, by the way. I like it when people use the tools. Here's a very long Neo Dragon TT that I did not read because it's very long. Just kidding, Luke. He's very angry with me right now. We see a little back and forth between Luther and Neo here, kind of going over their history, and it's a long history. So again, this matchup is going to be one of the premier events at Starrcade. With the Chameleon, don't forget the Chameleon does get his opportunity at the Pan Am Championship, going against Alexander J. Styles. I do appreciate was cousin Eddie from Christmas Vacation. So I find that hilarious. We do have the American Patriot and the Christian Warriors. Again, these guys are once again going after the Three Birds, and hopefully they'll get maybe they'll get a victory here in the championship match. And then finally we have the Graces, just recently recruited into a Revolution Extreme. Again, these guys are the future of Revolution Extreme. So with Alexander State Styles and the Graces, and now the Regulators all in to Revolution Extreme. Again, they've doubled their numbers and increased their strength in a situation where they looked like they were falling apart, but now they're stronger than ever. So that's cool to see. So again, overall very happy with the TT. We want to see some of our draft picks that have already started to trickle in a little bit. The rest of them should be trickling in shortly. Going over the card real quick for Starrcade, we have John Satterfield taking on Alexander J. Styles for the IWA World Heavyweight Championship. We have Alexander J. Styles taking on the Chameleon for the Grand Prix Championship. We have Dixon Ticonderoga versus the American Patriot for the Grand Prix Championship. We have the Three Bird taking on Omega Squadron for the Unified Tag Team Championship. We have the Mid-Atlantic Wrecking Crew versus the WOH for the Bad Street Championship. And in the Russian Chain match, we have Neo Dragon versus Luther Alexander. And in the Grudge match, we have the Regulators taking on the Von Schnapps. So apparently, Logan Kane, who is out, apparently, rumor has it, not only was he suspended from the BRL, we did not suspend him here in the IWL. Apparently, he was kidnapped. So
yes,
the whereabouts of Logan Kane is a mystery. And I don't know if Luther Alexander had something to do with it. My bet would be no. I'm pretty sure that it was Ali Atari who kidnapped him. So
the swerve.
Well, it's gonna be a mystery for the next 9 cycles. So we're gonna do something there. Perhaps investigative reporter Lance Cameron will find out what happened to Logan Kane. So we'll see how that goes. It kind of reminds me of remember when they had Leslie Nielsen and Naked Gun, and they're looking for the Undertaker, like in 1994, and they had all these Undertaker sightings, like it was Elvis. It's probably gonna be it's gonna be something like that. So that's gonna be funny.
Unsolved Mysteries or something.
Yeah. You get Robert Stack. Is Robert Stack still alive?
I think he might have departed.
Oh, okay.
Like Madden.
It's too soon.
Too soon.
Sorry.
Was Robert Stack the guy from Unsolved Mysteries, or was it somebody else?
I think you're spot on there.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, Robert Stack.
He was in that movie Basketball as well.
Oh, that's right.
Funny part. He's got a funny part in that movie.
You don't get enough good basketball references. Holy shit.
Speaking of funny movies, anytime that I'm down and feeling kind of blue, I do watch the film Airplane, because I think that movie is hilarious. It's probably one of the funniest films of all time. All right, so that is the IWL in a nutshell. So I'm going to kick it back over to Aaron. You're going to do the NWL here.
Yeah, I can do a quick rundown of the NWL TT. We've got NWL cycle number 176, I believe we're on. Lots of great TTs this time. We started off with the Teamster and his son El Hijo de Teamster. They came out to All I Want for Christmas by Mariah Carey with a couple of Christmas bags. And I'm not sensing a lot of love between the Teamster and his son El Hijo de Teamster. It seems like El Hijo is kind of not quite delivering on the Teamsters' expectations. So we'll have to see how that one shakes down. I'm not sure. I'm not sensing the love there very much, but we'll have to see how that shakes down in coming cycles. The Teamster was recently relieved of his commissioner duties in the NWL. We kind of had a civil war between the Teamster and Mad Dog Dick Jackson, which resulted in IWA founder Johnny B coming into the league as the new commissioner. He relieved the Teamster of his duties, fined him $50,000, but the Teamster is going to stay on as the manager of El Hijo de Teamster. So, and he's going to be running the Teamster Challenge as well. So we're going to have the Teamster around still, but not quite in as much of a prominent role moving forward. Up next, we've got Stevie Vertigo, who just finished a grueling match against Rhett Grady. It was a Grady rules match on the Grady Ranch. At the end, one of the barns got burned, and Stevie got taken to the slammer as a result of that, but Stevie ends up getting off scot-free. So he's in the jail cell in Beaver County, Pennsylvania. He ends up getting bailed out by the Teamster and by one of his mentors, Monsignor Stevens. And Stevie is supposed to be on his way to the BRL fairly soon, but Stevie ended up winning the NWL League Championship this past cycle. So it sounds like he's going to stick around and try to defend that, possibly for as long as possible. But I mean, NWL is a pretty competitive league, so we'll have to see how long he sticks around for. Up next, we've got Samoan Death Grip. They've been NWL Tag Team Champions for 3 cycles, so they're pretty much just rubbing it in everyone's face at this point. They're looking to win the Johnny B Cup number 3. Then we've got Prime Destruction, who I think is a newcomer to the NWL. I'm not sure if he's in the TIE stable, but Prime Destruction is looking to win the tag team titles with his partner, Sarah the Blonde Bombshell. So we'll have to see where Prime Destruction ends up in the tag team scene. Up next, I think this is the first TT from Frosty McFreeze. Yes. Who's had a couple of big title wins in the NWL, but we're finally seeing a TT from him. He's got a stable along with Mike Hammer and the Equalizer. And it sounds like they want to join the Ranger division with Dark Stranger and Jay Silverblood. So it's good to see some new guys getting in on the TT.
I once gave myself a Dark Stranger.
Hey-o. And by the way, if you have a chance, if you're buying something for Christmas, click on the Amazon affiliate link. The Dark Stranger just reminded me of that. So if you have a chance, jump on there.
Can you buy a Dark Stranger off the Amazon affiliate link?
I feel it's the name of the Love Glove.
Thanks. There you go.
Up next, we've got Blind Fury, who is beefing with El Jefe. Blind Fury has kind of come and gone in the TT department, but it sounds like Blind Fury is back with a vengeance. He wants to be part of the Lone Star Redneck stable and wants a shot at the Young Lions Championship. The TIE stable, Iron Man Rob, Beastmaster, and King Diamond, they're getting in on the action as well. Up next, we have the Country Hammer, Rhett Grady. He's in his hunting cabin after his match with Stevie Vertigo. He's all banged up. He's got a bunch of stitches in his head, and his ribs are all taped up. Stevie and Rhett had quite a feud. Stevie dropped the Young Lions Championship to Rhett a while back, and then they kind of had this Grady rules match to try and settle their beef. But they're both going to end up in the BRL fairly soon, so we'll have to see if maybe that feud picks up again somewhere down the line. In the end of that Grady Rules match, one of the Grady barns was burned, and it sounds like it might have been Mike Dynasty from the NWL who was behind that act. So we're gonna have to see how that shakes down. It's gonna be Mike Dynasty, Lone Star Redneck, and Rhett Grady for the Young Lions Championship at Clash of Champions 21 in March. So we got a bit of a build up to that match. Up next, we've got Aunt Betsy Grady, who's Rhett's 80-year-old aunt, and she runs a segment every cycle called Aunt Betsy's Front Porch. It's kind of got a nice, it's kind of got a bit of an old school talk show kind of vibe. It's got some canned applause, even though Aunt Betsy's doing the interview segment from her front porch in Beaver County, Pennsylvania. And in this one, she's interviewing Dave the Decision Wasilewski, current NWL Young Lions Tag Team Champion. They're both heavy drinkers, so they seem to get along fairly well in this segment. Aunt Betsy's pretty fond of the whiskey, which even seems to go a little bit beyond where Dave the Decision is at. He usually drinks Budweiser, but I think Aunt Betsy ends up talking him into having a belt of whiskey while he's on her front porch. Up next, we've got Mark Justice, who's a newcomer to the NWL. I think he's got a lot of potential. I'm not sure if he made it into the IWAR draft. I think he came in just after that was going down. But he's kind of painting himself as kind of a lone wolf kind of figure, but he's also teasing possibly a partnership with the Grady family, which could be kind of cool. We're going to have Mark Justice kicking around in the NWL, I think, until late next year. So I'm pretty excited to see where his TT goes in the future. Then up next, we've got the Hebrew Hammer, Lance Horowitz, who I think he's coming on to his last cycle in the NWL. He's the #1 overall IWAR draft pick by the IWL. He basically shows up in a limousine with his dad, Barry Horowitz, and he won't even give the fans of the NWL one last send-off. He stays in the parking lot, basically over a camera, tells all the fans off. He says that the IWL is the #1 league in the IWAR.
He's not lying.
He doesn't even want to give the fans an ounce of his time.
He's a good
egg. Gets back in the limo, and I think he's teasing some sort of relationship with Mike Dynasty here as well. So we'll have to see how that shakes down. I think Mike Dynasty is going to end up in the IWL as well. So possible alliance there.
Son of a bitch.
Up next, we've got Colonel Doom, who Colonel Doom's really a guy who he seems to get under the goat of lots of superstars in the NWL, which I love to see. You know, he's always like poking the odd guy. He'll take the top guy in the NWL and he'll just give him the what for in his TT. Last cycle, Mike Dynasty was talking quite a bit of smack about Colonel Doom. As we know, his name is spelt, Colonel, as in from an army, or Colonel Sanders, but Mike Dynasty was spelling it like a popcorn kernel. So Colonel Doom took exception to that in this TT. And, I think that's a feud that I would like to see somewhere down the road, Mike Dynasty versus Colonel Doom. We'll have to see how that shakes down. Colonel Doom's been teasing that he might be joining a new stable, and he's been kind of teasing us along for a few cycles now, and I'm not quite sure who's in his stable or what that's going to look like. He might save that until he graduates to the IWL, I believe he's going to, but we'll have to see how that shakes down. And then in the end of that promo, him and his new stablemates, who are currently masked, jumped Mike Dynasty. Up next, we've got Glenn Cavendish. He jumps Lone Star Redneck after a tag title match. Then we've got California Gunslinger talking about his family, the gun collection. They're proud of winning the 6-man titles. Let's see. Shotgun Kid, I think, is dealing with some demons. He's California Gunslinger's brother. He shows up to a show late. His match is canceled. One of the bookers asks Shotgun Kid if he wants to go for a drink after, but it sounds like Shotgun Kid has just had too much of the fast lifestyle, so he declines the invitation, and I think he's going to be rethinking his life pretty soon, which, it'd be good to see Shotgun Kid, get off the wagon, get on the wagon, whatever the metaphor is. He's got to straighten his life out, basically, at this point. Then they got their sister, Aria Gunpowder. She's on a podcast talking about her new movie, Nightfall. Aria usually does Western films, but she's taking a break to do a horror film this time. And then Big Money Bonnie Banks from the NWL chimes in and kind of gives her a tongue lashing. So I think we've got a few up and coming female wrestlers in the NWL who I think are going to make some waves in the IWAR down the road, which is really great to see. Then we've got Rod Camino of the Industry. He does a segment called Hot Tub Hot Takes.
Oh.
He basically, he has a bunch of floozies come by his hot tub. His theme song is Smooth Operator by Sade.
Yes.
And he kind of gives a rundown of the comings and goings of the NWL. He takes a shot at Senior Lucha somewhere in there because he beat out Senior Lucha for the New Brunswick title. And I think it's a bit of a cheap shot, honestly, because Senior Lucha is such a legend in the IWAR. It's kind of kicking a guy when he's down, I feel like.
I agree.
Rod's co-host is Riley Reynolds, who is now of IWL fame and is kind of making waves in the IWL. And then next we have a TT by the Industry as a whole. They're celebrating Rod Camino's New Brunswick title win in New Brunswick. I was proud to chip in on this TT a little bit. I've been to New Brunswick before, so I gave Jonathan a couple of, a little bit of insight on this TT as far as a bar in New Brunswick. And I know that the Canadian military has a base near there, and they kind of go to New Brunswick and cause a bit of a ruckus. So it was cool to see Rod Camino and the Industry getting into it with the Canadian military in New Brunswick, Canada. It had international incident written all over it. But yeah, I think Rod made it back over the border okay. Up next, we have Genco, who gave their farewell to the NWL. Genco has been an epic faction in the NWL. They've accomplished a lot. Their TTs are always great. And then Zydrate, in particular, went over to the BRL last cycle and won a regional title in his first shot, so that was really great to see. Up next, we've got Baruch Assault, who's had an epic run in the NWL. She's been Rookie Brawl champion. I think she's getting a shot at the IWAR women's title. She's been NWL League champion. We had a nice drawing by Blind Fury, who takes on kind of a what's the comic book character's name? Yeah, Deadpool. Blind Fury takes on kind of a Deadpool kind of look. So we've got a nice drawing from Blind Fury. And then we finish off with Whoop Ass Inc., which is comprised of Mick Ferrari, Baruch Assault, and Sam Hain. Mick Ferrari and Sam Hain are at the Children's Mercy Hospital in downtown Kansas City. They're going to bring toys to all the sick kids, but of course, the media is there. So Mick Ferrari in particular is whooping it up in front of the media. Mick Ferrari's been, a standout talent in the NWL this year. He's racked up tons of titles. He's in the running for Wrestler of the Year.
Yeah.
He's in the running for the IWAR Draft Challenge winner. So yeah, it's great to see Mick Ferrari getting back on board with a solid TT this time. He's got particular heat with Lance Horowitz as well for being the #1 overall draft pick. He calls the IWL the laughing stock of the IWAR, which, I mean, that's a bit of a pot shot at the IWL, but I mean, it'd be cool to see Mick Ferrari and Lance Horowitz tangle somewhere down the road. So we'll have to see where that goes, and that pretty much wraps up the NWL TT for NWL 176.
My God. Oh, I bet Alex digs that.
I do dig it. All right. Fantastic. So, Matt, do you have any, where's our Johnny B questions?
Oh, yes. So there was some controversy. I'll start off with a new question.
Oh, okay.
The question that was asked to us by a friend of the show, Mick Ferrari. And Mick asks, can you ask the powers that be how many XXL championship belts were given away? Now, I think he means XXL, the league, and not double XL belts. So we would lean on our resource, Mr. Johnny B, and let us know what he thinks of that one. But yeah, we had talked before about some of the questions we've done before, and there was some.
We got answers and Matt lost them.
I didn't lose them. I brought them up, and you go, "Yeah, no, we did those." I'm like, "Nah, I think we talked about them." No, we did those.
Not
like,
true. Not true.
And then our rabid fan base, our number one fan, wrote to us and was like, "You sons of bitches! I did these question and answers. You didn't read them on the show." So, let's see here. Holiday trivia. Get this up here. All right, so batch 2, I think we went through, but I'm just gonna quickly highlight this. You tell me if we just slammed the door on this one. We did that one. No, I know for sure we did that one. Never mind. I know exactly we did this right. Yeah. So we talked about killing the bulk rate, helping the IWA or not helping. Check bounces, what they do. Which a quick side note for players. A little known thing you can do is, let's say you have funds that run amok because of a holiday or some other reason, bail, I don't know, blackmail. You got to pay somebody off. If you have, let's say, wrestlers in iron and steel and jade, if you say to that way, hey, do you mind if I pay for my cycle fees next week with my other matches? Like I'm in 2 federations, so I pay for all my stuff in 1 federation. As long as you let them know about it, they're cool with it. But you just got to be very carefully explain what you need to do. So don't worry about missing a cycle. You can always just say, hey, instead of paying for iron, can I pay with it with my gold stuff and just charge me that stuff at the time? They're really cool with that because as long as you're good for it, they're cool with it. Let's see here. Let's see. Now, Alex, did we talk about the holiday season special stuff for the employees?
Yes.
Did we talk about Johnny B's favorite Christmas present?
Maybe not. I don't remember.
His computer, a Mac, was a holiday gift 14 years ago. While some may view Apple with disdain, thus be disappointed by my response. Oh, sorry. Be disappointed by my response. This computer was the first ever product for that company, and it has been exceptionally trouble-free all these years. Like Matt, I was a recipient of the Dungeons & Dragons material, but in my case, it was merely the basic set. This was set back in the early 80s when D&D was getting mainstream popularity. My father created his own version of the game a few years earlier, so it was strange to be the one in charge of it as a young teen and have him as one of the players. In later years, I ended up purchasing the D&D books Matt mentioned, and my brothers and I had the same Castle, Grayskull, and Death Star playsets that he did. I received a BB gun one year and did not, in fact, shoot my eye out. And we should mention that, Alex, what did you get for Christmas this year?
I got a Castle Grayskull.
Told somebody at work, and they were like, wow, for his kid? I'm like, oh, no, for him.
My wife got it for me for Christmas.
That's a good woman. Good woman right there.
I know.
Due to a high number of players who win the IWA World 6-Man Championship every cycle, would they consider adding to the difficulty of the game by making the 24-point hold enter the mix? So you'd have 2 extra holds to consider each cycle as opposed to just having 12 you do right now. He says they got as many complaints about the hold values as they can handle and don't want to get worse than that. I will add that we previously held a vote to narrow the field of World Six-Man Champions through a more rigorous playoff process, and that was poorly received. Because I call it the Six-Man title is the poor man's way to the top, or I should say the rich man's. But we won't discuss that. Let's see here. We talked about laptop, desktop. Let's see. Oh, okay. When the IWA asks players to get their stuff in due to a certain holiday or some kind of event, do they look forward to those days so they can get out early since players actually get their stuff in on time? Johnny B says, requiring managers to submit their matches earlier than usual is done out of necessity, not because we desire to impose such a burden upon them. Our preference is to allow players as much time as possible to write entertaining trash talk and review their league submissions for correctness. While it is nice to work on an occasional half day, it is also important to note that we must complete roughly the same number of requests in greatly reduced time frame, so those days can prove just as taxing as full ones. We appreciate the cooperation demonstrated by our players each time we must ask them to comply with our stricter deadlines. So there's that. Let's see here. He brings up some unsolicited music trivia. So the IWA was born in the basement of a home in Northeast Ohio, and the previous owner had run a professional recording studio in the rooms above the garage. We learned in the episode of Matt's favorite band is the Eagles. It's not true, but I don't mind them. What's Ghost on right now? More Ghost. I'd say all-time favorite bands probably
Extreme.
No, they're okay. But
Roxette.
Alice in Chains. I have all their albums or all the CDs. Metallica was a good one for a while.
Hall & Oates.
I'm a big Pete Yorn fan, so look up Pete Yorn. But anyways, as rumor has it, they were the ones in the they were the one of the bands which had recorded songs there. Not wishing to see the amenities go to waste, some of my friends, siblings, and I formed our own band as a means of attracting female companionship. But those hopes were dashed when we discovered they expected us to actually be able to play something. The nerve! I shifted my focus to play my imaginary wrestling, because chicks dig it. Predicting it would someday replace music as the ultimate chick magnet, see? Fortunately for all of you, I'm a very patient and persistent individual. So, there it is. One of my best friends from high school, whom we had auditioned as a drummer, but rejected due to his, shall we say, incompatible skill level, has achieved international success with his band, Midnight Syndicate. As an avid Dungeons & Dragons gamer, Matt may already be familiar with their work, as they scored the first officially licensed soundtrack for D&D, some of which was used in the popular computer game Baldur's Gate, Dark Alliance 2. Any who has patronized an amusement park during the Halloween season is also likely to experience their creations, as anyone in attendance of Hugh Hefner's Halloween parties. Wow. Curse you, music! Had you not been there a distraction, those lonely playmates may have ended up with discussing IWA results. I actually heard that Hugh Hefner was quite the IWA player.
It's true.
P.S. There's this is where he complains about the questions missing. So, anyways,
they're not complaints. It's a little jab. Matt, I sent you another response. Read the second one first.
Oh my God! Second one first.
Yeah.
No, you didn't. Oh,
they're in the group chat.
There it is. My computer's slow tonight, so. Oh, here we go.
Go.
Here's another response. So read the second one first.
Read the last thing I sent you. Read first.
Read this first.
The last one. Yes.
Had no desire to make a live view, so here's the expected email. Oh, to answer the question posed, I have never been permitted to compete in the IWA. The question was Johnny B ever active in the IWA? Or Johnny B Jr., or any of the kids, I guess.
Yeah.
Had that not been the case, I don't believe I could have devised a character as entertaining and intriguing as the Backstabber. Nor could I have sustained the angle for so very long. Love him or hate him, you have to admit he's difficult to ignore. I wish I could take the credit. So there it is. Johnny B is not the Backstabber in the IWL. Let's see here. I think the IWAR Design Lab will be a valuable resource for players, but worry that Kim may begin receiving email with wrestler bios and finishing moves addressed care of
the IDL. IWAR. Yes.
Yes, IDL. Oh boy. Speaking of, you are correct that I have a certain affinity for sitcoms in previous millennium, such as Sanford and Son, Too Close for Comfort, and my personal favorite for many years, Married with Children, which starred Ohioan Ed O'Neill, featuring Ohioan Tracy Lords in 2 episodes. Not just one, as you erroneously stated, Alex, in an old IWAR Tubecast. You likely recall her role as a dental hygienist, which regard to her involvement in the murder mystery. Oh, God. You think it's a box set of, like...
1,000%. 1,000% he has them all on DVD. So do I.
I appreciate that Sanford and Son always kept humor as a focus, never making the show too heavy, with stars John Elroy Sanford, better known as Red Fox, and Grady Desmond Wilson for his extending rapport with his father and son. Although a fan of several Britcoms, I am tempted to watch the pilot of the British comedy was based on Steptoe and Son. Oh my God, and found it unbearable. They tried to remake Sanford and Son.
No, I think it was based on Steptoe and Son.
Oh, okay.
Because usually we take concepts from Britain, like sitcoms, and
right.
like The Office and all that shit. Even Three's Company was a British comedy first.
I probably endured a few minutes at most. I haven't yet tried my luck with Keep It in the Family, upon which Too Close was based. I enjoy a number of more recent sitcoms as well as, but rate The Big Bang Theory as barely tolerable and only extremely small doses. So I commend you on persevering through an entire season and a half. I hope you're playing Tetris while you watched. I think I've mentioned before, but if you've never watched YouTube's Big Bang Theory without the laugh track, it will ruin the show for you forever. I was never a fan to begin with, but I saw that and I dated somebody who liked that show, and she was super smarmy about it. It just really was like, ugh. Anyways, FYI, you apparently recorded a show between. All right, let me jump back up to the.
Hold on. I'm going to, because then I sent him a follow up response, and then I'm gonna just read this.
So don't read the big thing then. Okay.
No.
Okay. What was the question? You remember?
Yeah, I have it right here. The question has to be asked at this point. Oh wait, did you play? Interested? And that's. So the question was: is there any characters TT that you guys go out of your way to read? That being said, I do enjoy IT Crowd or It Crowd and Phone Shop Britcoms, which will align with my sense of humor.
Okay. See, I'll check out Phone Shop. Then I was going to mention It Crowd, since it's my all-time favorite sitcom. The creator of that show co-wrote Father Ted, which is also really funny, but does hold back a bit. I highly recommend checking out the mockumentary Life's Too Short, which is seven hysterical half-hour episodes, plus a somewhat less funny Easter special. Another Britcom I wholeheartedly endorse is My Hero, but skipped the final season because it was nothing like the first 5. This show is more mainstream humor / family friendly, but very well done. I also recommend HBO comedy Flight of the Conchords. I was hesitant to try it at first, but it is a musical sitcom and it turned out to have a very few songs, most of which were funny. If you're interested in action comedies, I would pick would be LA Heat. It's quite good. Others I approve of a Cleopatra 2525 and Jack of All Trades. Half-hour shows which aired back-to-back. Secret Agent Man, She Spies, especially season 1, Sledgehammer, Special Unit 2. I enjoyed roughly a third of the episodes of Z Nation. All right, mostly in the earlier seasons. Sadly, they began trying to be more of a serious zombie show, but there probably weren't enough of those already. I will say this: I liked Z Nation's early days, but it's right. It got too. It was kind of between like, oh, it's goofy and silly, and like, okay, great, and it had some, kind of interesting take to it. And then the whole nuclear bomb thing happened. That didn't make sense at all. All right, so you want to bang out that third part?
Hold on. I have lots of emails.
You do?
None of them from handsome men, apparently. So.
Oh, all right.
I think that's it. That's all I have.
Okay.
Yeah.
So. All right. So while I have had a few fleeting moments of weakness over the years, I think
you read that one.
Earl Ebner.
Didn't you read that one already?
No.
All right, read it again then.
While I've had a few fleeting moments of weakness over the years, I've made it a real effort to never think too seriously about creating my own wrestler, since I knew it was never going to be an option. It can be tough seeing as so many people having so much fun playing a game, not being able to join in, but someone has to be Earl Hebner. During the 90s, we had more people on staff typing comments, so all the trash talk sent to us was, and I'll wait to talk about this, sorry.
Yeah.
We were talking about the handwritten form stuff, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's good. So we got a new bang through. Again, if you have questions for us, questions that I mentioned earlier about the XXL championship, one thing I think about is with the IWA, I've mentioned it before, and I've kind of been told, like, if it happens, it happens. But, more, or maybe even like one really big super event, as a pay-per-view, or kind of like, make it more fun. Like, I think we're really close to it with like the Imagine Bash and, state championships. But I think we could, add a little pizzazz to it. Maybe do a thing where the top two finalists are the ones that have a head-to-head match, and that's the matchup and whatever. Other thing to talk about is, this is more of a bigger pie thing, maybe not really out of way, but like as brought up before, is making the Stablecade event really more meaningful than just a one-shot, one-cycle deal. I know there's chatter among the stable races that they're going to add the events like state championship and specialty championship and other things as a points earner, so that'll be more competition for those belts or those wins. So do you want to cover the women's division? Scott's there, right?
He fell asleep.
He may have.
I don't have anything for the women's division. I didn't know we were doing it this way.
No, I just didn't know if you wanted to add anything, like, get out there and cut some promos, women.
Get out there and cut promos, women.
I can tell you that because of Barbed Wire's departure, that shook things up in the BRL. I got to finish the Battlecade write-up in a couple of days. But yeah, we got women coming in from the NWL. So lots going on. I'm excited about it.
So I had a question for you gentlemen on the show. Since we're going into the new year, what do you want to see happen in the IWA next year?
I would like to see an NWL IWA champion again.
Okay.
Just, I mentioned this earlier in the locker room. I just said, when NWL players win IWA report titles and cost big roster players their precious IWA report titles, it makes me happy. It makes me warm inside.
It warms the cockles of your heart.
It does. I just feel like it's so awesome because you're outnumbered, number one. You're outnumbered probably, 1,000 to 1. If you combine all the wrestlers out there. So winning a national title like Wolf did in the BRL, like, that's, small roster wrestling, but like, just, it's great to see small roster people hit big because it's so rare now. It's tough. So that's my first one. What about you guys?
Is there ever like an ebb and flow of, because I think we're talking about like flutters versus small roster guys. Like, are flutters pretty consistent over the years as far as like their participation in the league? They keep that up pretty consistently?
Well, I'll tell you this. I as a general rule, I've noticed that the big roster folks, once the stable race is kind of settled, like once it's like figured out, like, oh, there's stable, like Edge is not going to be beaten. There's no way to, close that gap. Then the other guys just kind of call it a day, throw the towel in, and they stop playing. And you see a lot, and it happens in other way around. It's like January is huge. People are all jumping in January, launching it. There's been some discussion this past few weeks about when does the 2021 season end. Well, for the IWAR, we've always ended the season on the holiday cycle, which started today in December. And we've always just done like holiday cycle is the last cycle of the year because I always do the cover with all the various IWAR covers.
And Matt says he's taking a break for like 2 cycles, but never does.
Yes. Yep. Yeah, I gotta write Battlecade, then I gotta write the awards next issue, and that's already started. But yeah, it's
When you say stable races, like, is there an award for the top stable in the IWA?
kind of unofficially. There's
Bragging
and
rights.
I've talked to Mike Cook about this because I a few years ago I brought this idea up and I kind of brought it up again to him. I think the stable race could be one of the most enjoyable things in the game for like everybody if there was more structure. As it is right now, it's kind of a Wild West thing where the biggest stable with the most wrestlers or spending the most money wins. Just they outspend everybody. And that's why the whole six-man thing comes into play, because if you have a six-man championship and you have three different wrestlers run by three different managers, those three people getting the points, it spreads out. And it took a long time. I was one of the champions of like restructuring the 4 points. So like, you got a third of the points per player that won them, not the full 15 or whatever points it was, So what happens is you have, stables form up. They go to the town. It's all trying to win major reports, trying to hit, the report, hit the women's titles with the cheap way to create points as well. And then, come April or May, you got kind of people starting to form like who's a stable on top right now. And the thing about it though is that there's no structure. There's no like 10 players per stable. I put forward the idea of making have a giant draft of like IWA players, and like have the big roster guys run it, and have like 6 or 7 captains. They can have 10-person teams, and it's just however you draft, that's how you. So if you have a player who has like Brad Norman or you want Seth or you want Mike, you draft them if they're not their captain, and that way you kind of you spread out the big roster size so it's balanced. So each stable, and you can make up new names for them. You can be like the Tigers and the Sharks and the Jets or whatever. I don't care, because you're a Jet. You're a Jet. But you have structure to it, so that way you would have like an absolute like, okay, this stable has 10 players. This stable has 10 players. Everyone has the same amount of players. Now, wrestler-wise, you kind of go back and forth, right? And then what you do is you have it in 3 blocks, like NASCAR does, where you have like your first third, your second third, and then your last third. And what I would do is have everyone who gets involved pay a buy-in fee. So you pay, let's say, $15, so $5 per section, right? So then what happens is the stable that has the best performance each round of play, each cycle, wins that cycle's worth of buy-in, So if you have 80 players at $5 a pop, and that's times 3, so you're winning, I'm just saying, I think it'd be more enjoyable if it was level as a playing field. I don't know if anyone here do FanDuel besides me. I think Scott's done it before, or DraftKings.
No, I don't waste money.
Okay, well, I like it. I won $11 yesterday, buddy. All right, on a Dallas Cowboy game. Anyways, I've lost a lot more. But when I do it, it's a little fun. I do like 1 game a week, 2 games a week, maybe, right? But the thing about it though is that if you're in a competition and there's 8,000 people, right, 8,000 entries. If I'm doing a competition with, let's say, 3,000 entries, right, and it's single entry only, I feel better about that contest because we all have the same exact chance to win. It's just who you pick, right? If you don't do a single entry type of competition, there are people who do it like 30 entries in. And what I've always said about the big roster style of play, and like the reason I think the stable race isn't really as legitimate as it should be, is there's no policy. It's just like open season. So if somebody wants to run wild, they can do that. And I think if you had set rules and draft, part of it would be people would be like, oh, I don't want to draft a new team. I don't like so and so. I don't care. It's a draft. It's part of the fun. You draft, run it from, let's say, from like I said, from January, but do the draft quick, get it out of the way, bang, bang, bang. You could do it. You could do a shorter like draft race and do it for like 6 months at a time, and have a draft, and then 2 months from now, have it whatever, right? I just think it would take a lot of work, and that's where people start vanishing, So it's not my style of play, so I don't worry about it. But I just think that it could be better. I'd love to see more fun like that. Like that would be something that I would be like, oh, you want to throw me in the mixture? I'll do in the draft. and I'm on a team with like 8 other people, whatever, cool, I don't care. So I'd like to see that be better, but I would like to see more consistent storylines. Meaning, like, I kind of mentioned how this past year NWL, like, it was really a coherent, understandable storyline of like the Teamster, evil bad guy heels versus DJ and the good guy heels. Even if it was a shorter type thing, it was easy to, like, anyone who in the league could read and pick up on. So kind of setting up the BRL that way, I'm looking to have it be easier to look at and go, oh, those guys are bad, those guys are good, and go to town. What about you, Scott? What do you want to see?
I don't have a clue.
That's fair. I think for me, I want to see finally some sort of electronic form so I can submit my matches and my strategies directly to the IWA without using email, and perhaps I can have different options of payment methods.
Mm-hmm.
PayPal, perhaps Bitcoin. Send some cryptocurrency right directly to Kim. That'd be nice. And then maybe something on the site or the form where you can no longer double a hold. That'd be great.
It would yell at you.
Yeah, it would just come up as an error. You doubled the hold. That'd be pretty sweet.
What you doing, dummy?
You know how like the little paperclip guy used to come out? It should be just a picture of Kim, like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
like the guy from Mortal Kombat.
It's Kimmy pops up. You idiot! You see that question here? There was a wrestler in the Worldwide League in 1993 called Playboy Hugh Hefner.
There it is.
What if it was?
It was. I can see him playing IWA.
Yeah.
Him and Larry Dallas.
Nice.
Like IWA. We had that guy. What was that guy? That writer that used to play IWA. That you found the article, or someone found the article for.
Yeah. What about him?
I wonder if there's any other celebrities that the IWA, like Tony Danza. Or...
I know we've talked about it before. Like,
I'm not talking about former wrestlers. I'm just talking about like
Vin Diesel.
Like Vin Diesel
played.
Vin Diesel played IWA.
I have no idea. He plays D&D, maybe. You never go wrong with IWA. Because
that couldn't have been any better. Hey, Angela. Angela. I remember. Wasn't she around about 95? I think she won the women's world title.
What was the name of the mother on that show? Not Angela, the other one.
Mona.
Mona.
Catherine Hellman.
She's all old and sex crazed. Yeah.
She was on Soap.
She was. I love that show. I used to watch that shit on Comedy Central. Like I had to rerun.
Soap was a very, very underrated comedy.
I think Billy Crystal was in there too.
Probably one of my top fives. I totally enjoyed it, especially growing up on it. That's even better.
Yeah, well, I'd love to see some more records broken.
That's fair.
That's fun.
That's fair.
What records? I mean, I guess that's what has me down. IWA wise, what has me down is it's just there's nothing clear cut anymore. To me, there's nothing that really makes me jump out and go, "Oh, I'd like to see that happen." I'd like to see me win another world title, but that's not going to happen. So.
You never know.
Actually, I do.
Well, we tell ourselves that.
I was curious about what the big next innovation for the IWA is going to be. Like, what's going to be the thing that propels us to the future here?
I think your idea about logging the matches or whatever online is a win-win, and here's why. One, it puts the onus on the players to enter everything themselves, right?
Yeah. But
two, it saves the IWA all that time of data entry.
Yeah.
It's just hit a button and it's in.
Yeah.
But how about some more?
I think we know a guy that could probably get that done for them too.
Yeah, it's true.
Go ahead.
No, we can see some more IWAR merchandise.
Yeah. I'm wondering if they would ever consider going.
Why not? I mean, I don't see where we laugh about that, but I mean, there have been years of. I would have loved nothing more to have worn a Rick Challenger T-shirt.
What's funny is maybe we know somebody in the IWAR that could help make that happen.
Yeah.
A couple of guys actually that are really good with design and such.
Yeah.
But I was thinking it would be fun to do. It would be fun.
I'm talking about
what?
10 years ago.
Oh. Well, I think it'd be fun to offer as a prize, like you get your wrestler's logo on a shirt.
I think the cameo thing could be big. It's the 2021 version of Win a Phone Call from Jerry the King Lawler.
But he's in prison asking for bail money.
But it's just Tony. It's just Tony Danza on cameo.
Angela.
I wonder if the IWA, because we do have I wouldn't say complaints, but there's a lot of guys who are more interested in a less time between match results. So I wonder if they would consider just as a test a weekly league, just to see how that would work.
Ooh, I don't know.
Again, I'm just looking ahead, like what's going to be. No, we've come so far in the last 5 years. I feel like what's going to be the next big, like what's in the works, like what's the next big
I definitely think there's been more change in the last few years than has been
1,000%.
And I think what we see now with the IWAR, but other leagues that are kind of pulling together and getting the resources together, that's good. It's good for the game, more active. When we finish,
I think player engagement is probably at an all-time high. I think the community itself has grown and it become closer. Would it be not just I'm just talking about our stuff. I'm talking about the IWAR page, which is basically dead at this point. But whatever, that's a whole other thing. But other Facebook groups, other podcasts, other Tubecast, which Tubecast is officially copyrighted by me, by the way. So just keep that in mind. Someone owes me some money somewhere, by the way. That's all right. Just kidding. But I think player engagement, I think our sense of community is at an all-time high. With all the Facebook groups and the group chats, the communication is between the IWA and the players is at an all-time high too. So I think we're getting responses pretty quick on things. So I think that's all great. But to me, it's like, okay, what's going to be the next big thing? What big event is going to capture the imagination of the IWA players, moving forward, Well,
I will tell you, the survey I did, the player survey.
Yeah.
I will reveal the results of that on the next show.
Okay.
So we'll have that to look forward to.
All right, fantastic.
I'll help break down some of the demographics and so forth. Yeah.
Everyone is a 45-year-old male. I mean, I could have told you that.
Yeah, it's in that ballpark.
I could have told you that. Early millennials and a whole lot of Gen Xers.
Yeah. I did wait for TikTok.
Imagine. I never got Kim's Christmas cookies. They never
Here
came.
Here are 3 moves you don't know to use.
He probably set some stuff on fire with that.
Oh my god, I got into TikTok recently, and some of it's really stupid. Some of it's really funny though.
Some of it's funny.
Some of it's really funny. But
I'm more into the adult entertainment. On the TikTok, the TikTok 18 plus is where I'm at. So
there it is.
There it is. All right. So, if there's no other questions in the chat, hold on. Let's see. Let's see. They had a contest where you could win your wrestler's picture on a T-shirt.
I remember that. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a long time ago.
Yeah. So let me get a tattoo of myself.
Who is Julie Hancock? Who do you run? VOA, FYI? I missed that.
I don't know.
Hello, welcome. We're 11 people, so just talking about questions. But if you guys have any ideas or suggestions or comments, fire away.
Yeah, that's the whole thing about the IWA. It's kind of outlived the rise and fall of eFeds. It's now the big thing is like WWE 2K, like their online leagues that are popping up, where players can play against each other, and like for championships and stuff like that. So, that's going to be the next thing. That's IWA is going to outlive that too, because we're getting to the tail end of that. So it's like, because the way the IWA was built, it's ingenious in its simplicity. It's the reason why it's still around, and the rabid fan base. Although we may be small, we're very dedicated and loyal. So,
a question for the IWA.
Yeah, shoot.
What is their thought of other games and how they've outlasted them as well, such as the FWA, and as you were saying, the leagues based on video games? And I mean, I remember the years that there were like 4 or 5 different leagues or different games to play.
Yeah.
And you're right. I mean, IWA still has lived on past them. And I mean that as, very respectful, because, that they haven't stopped playing at all, no matter if they've gained $5 a month or $105 a month.
Yeah. That's the thing, too. Like, even, like, the PWI isn't what it once was, either. No. So even, like, the growth of the game has maybe stagnated, but I think they're at a level, it's like, they're Bespin. Orlando said, we're big enough to be profitable, but we're not big enough to get anyone's fucking attention. So I think they're quaintly under the radar.
It's funny how those wrestlers still want to be ranked number 1, though, isn't it?
Yeah, sure is.
That top 500, you want your name in there, and many people still talk about it to this day.
Like, I had my PWI almanac, which is where I learned. I had like match results in there for like everything, right? It's freaking huge, and I had every championship. This is pre-Wikipedia, so this is like 1996. So that's how I learned who all the champions were and who held what for how long, stuff like that. But it's amazing to me that they're still running strong, and I think people who used to play don't think it still exists, and then they kind of stumble upon it once again. Or would it be through the internet itself or the YouTube shows dedicated to this?
I played this 22 years ago.
Right, like everyone has the same story. I feel like I played when I was 10. I didn't know what the hell was going on. I played for 4 cycles, seemed kind of cool, but I didn't get it. And they come back 15 years later. So it's like that's like everyone's story. It seems like, at least most people, except for you and Matt, who've been playing the game since the 80s. So
right,
with some breaks in between, of course.
Yeah,
but I think
there were breaks too, where I got married, had a kid, and my kid has played, which is cool.
Yeah,
maybe somewhere down the road he'll want to care more, but right now he's 16, and the best part for me is him being 16, and I remember being 16 and I wanted the IWA World Title.
It's funny. It's like this is the only thing that's basically, for the most part, remained unchanged since 1985.
Comrade. Comrade, don't go.
Oh, it was like Luther Alexander that entered the chat there for a moment.
Yes. I thought that's what they came in here for. I heard about the Luther Alexander.
Oh man! All right, guys. So
where's that Nikita Koloff?
Right.
hey, did you know? So remember when they added the and Crockett, right? So Nikita turns babyface, right? And then Crusher Khrushchev leaves to go to WWF, and they bring in Vladimir Petrov, and as Ivan's partner. Do you know who was supposed to be Vladimir Petrov? It was supposed to be John Nord.
Really?
Yes, the Berserker was going to be the guy, but he was like, "Nah, I'm not doing that." Left. Like they brought him in, and he was like, "Nah, I'm not going to be a Russian. Sorry," and then he left.
Oh no!
But I think he would have been dope. Like John Nord would have been a crazy looking Russian dude. Like that would have been sick. But then they turned Dick Murdoch instead, and then it was Dick and Ivan for a while. Kind of killed that act though.
Some things that you just never did, and turning Dick Murdoch was stupid.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, kind of like Sergeant Slaughter.
Yeah.
I want my country back.
Slaughter, you can make Slaughter a little bit more believable, but Dick Murdoch, I mean, come on now.
And they never really did. They never went like if you want to turn them, you would have to turn them on Dusty, and do the because they are tag team partners. But then Dusty was kind of all over the place when he was booking, like later and Crockett. Like he was really fucking out there. Like he started like I think once Magnum had his wreck, he was like he broke open the glass with that was Nikita Koloff, which was great. But I think after that, I think he lost it. He lost control. You know. Then you have like Ronnie Garvin win the world title and all types of fucking shit. Like Road Warriors never win the belts until like '89. You know, it's like insane, insane. So it's like, I think for a large territory, a national company, I think you only book it for like maybe 3 years, maybe even 2 before you're burnt out. Like they should be always like Watts had it right. He would recycle bookers like every 2 years, almost every year. Because once you told your story, and you're done. And it's hard to keep on coming up with new shit over and over again for years on end. You know, it's different now since there's no bookers. But I think like a Tony Khan, he's gonna need some help because he's gonna once he's added ideas, then where is he gonna go? And if he's the sole guy booking those 3 TV shows, like he's gonna need some help. He's gonna need some booking help. And there's not a lot of bookers. There's plenty of writers out there. You can get a Freddie Prinze Jr. to come in and write your TV for you if you want. But in terms of what they're going for, a true WWE alternative, there's not a lot of guys out there that can book that.
That's where the IWAR role comes into play.
Yeah, that's when they start looking at bulletins. Tony Khan had the play. I'm sorry, you can't be that big of a wrestling dork. Reading Observers, going to ECW shows, and not play IWA.
He's played.
1,000. Someone needs to go. You go find him. You go ask him. I know you're friends with him.
So I will.
Next time
I would be glad to go. Hey Tony, you ever play the Imaginary Wrestling Alliance?
There's no reason. There's no way he didn't. It's impossible.
And then say Bad Company Forever, and he'll like, oh hell no. Challenger not to come out of retirement and start beating the shit out of him.
It kind of makes me want to scroll the Hall of Famer list and see if there's a Anthony Khan on it or whatever.
Tony Khan of Jacksonville.
Right.
You gotta think it's something bigger though. It wouldn't be like Anthony Khan. It would be like Killer King Khan.
Yeah, it would be something
Jacksonville. He would have a stage name or a gimmick name for sure.
Not if he was a kid at the time.
God damn Matt Riley. I so want to beat his ass.
But that's the whole thing. Like who does Tony Khan get to help him? Like, it's not gonna be Paul Heyman, and sure as fuck, like Cornette's not gonna come in. Gabe Sapolsky's probably not gonna come in. Like, there's no bookers left. Like,
just us.
I just think it's going to be somebody out of the box. I mean, for you to have old Crockett and WCCW and all of those promotions, they had somebody. Well, then here comes. I mean, it's got to be somebody. I'm just throwing a name out there, and it being one of the Bear brothers.
Right.
Wow, out of the ordinary. I mean, you would never think that, but hell, maybe he's got tons of ideas. I mean,
and where's all the bookers that are under 40? Like,
yeah,
everyone's so old. It's like where are the under 40 guys? Like when Cornette was booking like in '89, he was under 30. I think Paul Heyman, when he started up ECW, even when he got his first like pseudo booking jobs like in Continental or whatever, like he was under 30. Like, where are all the young guys? And just they don't make bookers anymore. So it's like who are the young guys? Like, who are the young guys not creative in WWE? What, Shawn Michaels and Michael P.S. Hayes? Like, come on, Road Dogg. It's like it's all old dudes. Like, give me someone.
They don't groom like they used to. That's the thing. That's you gotta bring somebody up, groom them. Like, for instance,
no grooming since Terry Garvin left. So,
and maybe I don't know this for sure, but let's say, for example, like when we had Triple H with NXT and Vince had the main show, if you will, we saw what they were doing, right?
Uh-huh.
Well, what if someone took Elevation, Dark, and Rampage, and those were like all different bookers? So you had different, like whatever, but have someone work Dark. I mean, I've been watching Dark, and so like tonight's Dark has Sonny Kiss versus Joey Janela in their big blow-off match.
Right.
And like I think there's more you could do there, so you could see more of it. Where's U.S. Mail? Where's Too Hot Frankie Scott?
But my whole point is, like, let me take someone.
Scott.
Let me find
I'll
someone.
go with Freddie Scott. Where's he?
Like, if it was me, like, I would take someone who's like 25 years old and who has a lot of enthusiasm and knows modern wrestling, and then pair them up with, like, all right, I need Kevin Sullivan to come teach this guy. So, like, he can get the knowledge from like Kevin Sullivan or JJ Dillon or whatever.
I will say, I think part of it is a lot of, as far as I kind of think of the evolution of the business, is that the old ways aren't necessarily what works anymore.
They always work.
Well, some do, but not all of them. And that's the thing. I think that's the very tricky line where.
Well, the whole thing is just you have to. The concept remains the same. It's just the execution has to change. So it's basically just. Take an old angle, name your angle, just put a fresh coat of paint on it, and no one's going to know the difference.
I thought of this the other day, but you mentioned I thought to myself, they could do so many angles over again. Yeah. Why wouldn't you do Mega Powers over again?
Yeah.
Like create the star power, hook them up. And I think the one area you might have a chance to do that in a way is CM Punk and Daniel Bryanson.
Yeah.
Or Bryan, yeah. Because you have
Daniel Bryanson? Yes.
Him too. I'm tired.
Well, Punk said he would prefer AJ Lee not to wrestle because she gets in ridiculous shape and he likes her thick. So
you should have her. She can stand at ringside.
It's like, my man. All right.
Nice.
Let's see. Like, give CM Punk some creative control. Let's see what he can do. He knows his stuff.
Yeah.
Even him is like, he's 10 years too old anyway. But like, let's just see what Punk. We'll see what Punk can do. Or give me a Samoa Joe, someone that's worked the modern style, and let's see what they can do. And someone that has respect for wrestling history. Because if you can merge the two, you're good. You're gonna have the flips and all the other shit like that. That's wrestling now, right? You got to have that. But let's take modern wrestling matches and pair them with old school wrestling angles.
Right.
I mean, like, they start mining like some Georgia Championship Wrestling, start mining some Memphis, start mining some of the ideas out of there, and just you can have the modern match, but the angles have to change. The angles are timeless. It's like
my one of my favorite angles of all time, and I've watched it over and over again, and that is the masked Mr. R winning the. Or was it the national heavyweight title?
Is the one where he had a mask where he had to relinquish the belt?
Or no?
No, he unmasked, and
no.
it was supposed to be who was it? It was supposed to be Tommy Rich, but it was it was Brad Armstrong. Yeah.
Do it again. There's a ton of kids out there that haven't seen this shit. Do it again. I don't care how many people outside of it already know it and go, oh, let them know it.
Yeah.
Who cares?
Do the Midnight Rider again. Fuck it. Like Cody should come back as the Midnight Rider. Like, why can't that happen? Why can't that be a thing?
Exactly. You know what? And I don't give a shit who says, oh, that's Cody stealing stuff from his dad. So what?
If my dad was Dusty, I'd be stealing shit from him too.
Right.
And there's a ton of stuff. And
like it's already.
There's so much out there. I was watching this.
Jeremy does not like Kevin Sullivan. Do you not like Kevin Sullivan because you think he's a murderer? Or because he worships the devil? Or is he a nudist? Give me all three of those.
He gave candy to little kids.
Well, with razor blades in them.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. Is like, how can we get a? Because Tony, like I said,
did that.
Like Tony's gonna need some help at some point. So, we'll see how that goes there.
True, any or all.
Okay. Yeah, have you guys ever watched any of the kayfabe commentary shoot interviews, like the guest bookers and stuff like that? Like those are fascinating to me. So they had one with Sullivan, they had one with Cornette, they had one with Jerry Jarrett. They had the best one is probably Gary Hart. His guest booker was sweet.
I loved Ole's got a good one too because it's nothing but Ole being the greatest, and the rest of them are fuck him.
There was this thing that recently came up. There was recently this thing that came up that so it's the fall of 1989, and there's a period of time where Ole Anderson gets fired, and before Dusty comes back from WWF, like there's this 5-month gap in between, and no one mentioned, and then Barry mentioned it like in passing on the shoot interview. It was like, yeah, I was the booker for those 5 months. So it's like, because Ole said in an interview one time, it was like, oh, why'd you make Ric Flair the Black? So someone asked Ole, he's like, why'd you make Ric Flair the Black Scorpion? That shit was stupid. He's like, that wasn't me, that was Dusty. And then when he said that, I'm like, no, Dusty's in WWF. Like he's still there. So like, I don't know what the fuck Ole's talking about. So it makes me think that Barry Windham Dusty Rhodes was booking through Barry Windham in like WWF's locker room. Like he's booking WCW while he's still in WWF, which is something that Dusty would actually do.
I can see that.
It's like, fuck awesome. We're gonna make Flair the Black Scorpion and go because
let me tell you,
because they got rid of that quick. So Flair's the Black Scorpion, right? And this is for Starrcade. And then they said fuck all that, and they give back the belt to Flair on the house show. And in New Jersey, so like I go from watching like, oh yeah, Sting beats the Black Scorpion to like, I guess maybe I missed a week, and I come back and like, oh, Flair's a champion again, and then everything resets. It's because Dusty's coming in. So Dusty doesn't leave until the end of January because he's in the Rumble. Well, he's not in the Rumble. He's at the Rumble teaming with Dustin against $1 Million Man of Virgil. That's where Virgil does the turn. But yeah, it's amazing that Dusty is booking WCW from a WWF locker room somewhere.
Yes.
And Jeremy does, in fact, believe that he killed the Benoit family. So there you go. Sullivan, my son. All right, guys. So we are officially all out of time. So. For Scott, for Matt, for Aaron, I'm Alex G. Have a good night.